how can we approach the short circuit? Easy, my friend. So let me grab my multimeter here and of course select the continuity option. As I told you before, my friends, for the short circuit, always you have to pay attention to coils. We use coils to detect short circuits. Why? Because coils in the motherboard are always in the power rail. Okay? The coils can never be connected to the ground in the motherboard. You can never find a coil that is connected to the ground on computer motherboard. That's why we use it to identify or to locate short circuit. So, for example, for this coil here, if I put one probe here in the ground and check this coil to ground, do you see in the multimeter? Do you see, my friend? No continuity. Okay, no continuity, no reading. Even if for this one also the same. The trick or the shortcut that we can use to identify short circuit very easy or fast. So let's check, for example, these coils over here also. So the black probe in the ground, everywhere in the ground. If we check this one, do you see in the multimeter? Nothing, no continuity, no low reading. This one here, the same. Means here, we don't have short here. In this side, we don't have short. Here, means no short, we have a high reading. Here, no short. Good. So this is how we can check the circuits. All circuits, except circuits near to the processor, or basically the CPU circuits. So here, my friends, for example, we have this motherboard. Let's use this motherboard. Now I teach you the short circuit. Just stay tuned and be patient. You're gonna understand everything. I'm going to teach you how to isolate and how to detect very fast, the fastest way to detect the short circuit. But as I told you before, here we made things easy. We follow the process and we follow the logic. We are logic. We don't do things randomly. So as I told you guys, always locate the inductors. The inductors always are in the power rail, connected to the power rail. Inductors always are connected to the power rail. That's why we have here high reading. Even if we check, for example, if we check the ohm here, the ohm mode the same. Let's check. We check the ohm mode here. Do you see, my friend? High reading, high. Okay, that's why we use inductor to locate short. Let's check this inductor also here. This one here. Okay. Oh, we have 0. Is it 0? No, I touched the... Sorry guys, I touched the ceramic capacitor because here this side for the ceramic capacitor is ground. You see? This side is connected to the ground and this side. Oh, we have a shorted capacitor. No, we have a short here, guys. This is a short. Here we have a short. Do you see, my friends? This is a short. Because, as I told you, the inductors can never be connected to the ground, as you can see. Okay? Never. But for this inductor, one probe in the ground, we check this inductor, 0 in the multimeter. This is the short, guys. This is the real short. 0 means we have here a short. This is good, very good. Now I will teach you here how to identify the short very fastly. So we find a shorted circuit. Nice. We find, my friends, a shorted circuit. Now the deep work will begin. Please don't forget to like, my friends. For anyone who doesn't hit the like button, like please. Your likes is what motivates me and my team to generate more videos for you. So guys, here we find that this circuit is shorted. 0. This is a real short. Why? Because the inductor should always not be connected to the ground. Nice. So here guys, let me zoom in a little bit or just make like this. So guys, we find here the short circuit. This circuit is shorted. Okay, this circuit is shorted. We find 0 here. But this circuit is shorted. You're gonna find the short everywhere. As you can see, everywhere in the circuit. As you can see, my friend, everywhere will be shorted. Even the MOSFETs, as you can see, 0. This MOSFET also. 0. Everything here is shorted. Okay, this one, no. This side basically is connected to the input. Good. This side is connected to the input. Here, I understand that the short is not in the input. Okay, is not in P+, but the short here inside. Okay, means the short could be serial capacitor, could be MOSFETs, or the IC. Let's see the back here. Here we have the IC. You can just use the voltage injector. You can inject the voltage, that's it, and find the short. But you cannot understand the technique. Here I show you the technique, my friend. So this is the IC. If we check this IC, 0, we have short in all capacitors here. This one, 0 in this side. Okay, in this side. Okay, let's check this capacitor also. 0. Okay. Okay, the capacitors are not shorted in both sides. The capacitors are not shorted in both sides. Means what? Means the IC is good. Means the IC is not shorted. I show you everything, don't worry. Once here, even if the IC is belong to the shorted circuit, but because the capacitors is not shorted, you see, here connected to the IC, connected to the ground, here connected to the ground, here connected to the IC, connected to the IC, connected to the ground, simple, connected to the IC in one side, connected to the ground in one side. The capacitors are not shorted, means the IC is not shorted. If we find that the capacitors are shorted in both sides, for example, here and here, this one also shorted here and here, means the IC is the shorted one. Could be about 90% the IC is the shorted one, but the IC is not shorted. Good. So guys, I show you right now how to isolate the short circuit using just your multimeter. Just your multimeter, without the thermal camera, without the voltage injector. Please guys, just stay tuned. I'm going to teach you everything. Using your multimeter, you can identify the short circuit, and sometimes some technicians and some YouTubers cannot identify the short circuit even if they use the thermal camera and the voltage injector, or basically the current injector. They cannot reach the shorted component. Here in electronic repair basics, using just the multimeter and the process, we're gonna detect the shorted component without thermal camera, without voltage injector, without oscilloscope, without anything. Okay, my friends? Okay, just stay tuned. Let's draw the circuit here. Let's draw the circuit in this paper and then back to the circuit. What we have found? We find that this circuit is shorted. We have 0, means this circuit is shorted. Okay, this circuit is shorted. Good, because the inductor to the ground give 0 in the multimeter, and we know that the inductors should never be shorted. The inductors can never be shorted to the ground. all inductors in the motherboard should give a high read, because always the inductors connected to what? To the power rail. But this inductor is connected to the ground. We have 0. Means what? Means the circuit is shorted. So when you get a shorted circuit, you will find all components in that circuit will be shorted in both sides. Look guys, in both sides shorted. Okay, even the IC should be shorted. Normally the IC also should be shorted. Okay, what is the ground? Even the IC here, guys, should be shorted. But for the IC, once the capacitors around the IC are not shorted, as you can see, in both sides, this one is shorted just in one side because connected to the ground. This one here good, here connected to the ground. This one connected to the ground in this side, here good. This one connected to the IC in this side, connected to the ground here. Once the capacitors are not shorted in both sides, means the IC is good. Okay, so the IC is excluded. The IC in the circuit is good one. So we have to check right now. The short could be in MOSFETs, okay, could be in ceramic capacitors, okay, my friends, or the circuit basically is the RAM circuit. Once the RAM is not connected here, means the RAM is excluded because it is not connected. If the RAM is connected, we have to remove it and recheck the circuit. Let's take or make things easy for you, especially for beginner. This is the circuit, my friends. Okay, this is the circuit. So the circuit is for RAM, is for the RAM. We have the RAM, the circuit near to the RAM means the circuit is for the RAM. This circuit we have duplicated channel, means the circuit is for 3 volt 5 volt circuit. Here we have the processor, we have 2 channels, means for the processor. This is for the PCH. Guys, I teach you how to locate, identify the circuits, just use your eyes. Here we have inductor, isolated inductor near to the battery connector, means this is for battery connector. Okay, guys, now if you understand this video, you can fix any short circuit in the world, any short circuit in any motherboard, because I will teach you the process. Okay, any short circuit, regardless of the kind of short circuit. This is the power of teaching and learning the process. But just using thermal camera and all that, you can just remove the capacitor, not this one, remove this one, not this one, remove this one, not this one, maybe this IC, remove it. Oh, good, done. But just for this laptop. Another laptop, the short will be in the IC. Another laptop, the short will be into electrode capacitor. Another could be into PCH. But if you know the process, that's it. You can repair any short circuit, regardless of its difficulty. So let's draw right now this circuit and then continue identifying the short circuit. This is a one video that you will need to understand the short circuit forever. Okay, we have the IC. Okay, guys, we have the IC. Let's take, because this circuit is for the RAM, okay, because the circuit is for the RAM, we will call this IC RAM IC or RAM control IC. But the working principle is the same, because the circuits has or have the same structure. We have the IC, okay. Here we have the first MOSFET. Okay, guys, always the drain of the MOSFET connected to some filtering capacitors. Usually we find 3, and here we have the VN, or basically we called it B plus. Okay, nice. Then this MOSFET, the source of this MOSFET will be connected to what? To another MOSFET, to drain of another MOSFET here. Okay, my friends? The second or the lower MOSFET is always connected to the ground. Nice. These two MOSFETs are controlled, as you can see, by this IC. Guys, here I teach you the short circuit process. Here is here. Just stay tuned and be patient. Nice. Okay. Here we have the first MOSFET Q1, the second MOSFET Q2. Basically, these two MOSFETs. I don't know if you see this MOSFET or not. These two MOSFETs are here. Guys, here, what I told you, here I teach you, and this is where you can learn electronics, because I can just see the circuit and draw it without schematic, without anything. We see the circuit, I can draw it. We can go from here to here or from here to here. If we have schematic, we can use it to understand the circuit. If we don't have schematic, no problem, no worries. I can even draw the schematic for any circuit here. Okay, guys, any circuit. This circuit, for example, we have two inductors. Here means we have IC. Here we have one channel in this side, one channel in this side. Two MOSFETs for this, two MOSFET. Easy, very easy. Just stay tuned. You gotta understand everything in this channel, Electronic Repair Basics. I need just your likes and your motivation, comment, likes, share. Okay, so guys, we have the IC, we have the two MOSFETs, basically these two MOSFETs. Okay, we have the coil. So the inductor or coil is this one. This guy here is never connected to the ground. No connection with the ground. But for us, this one is connected to the ground. Means short. Nice. So this one here, L, let's see, L. Okay, L1. Good. After that, we need here an electrolytic capacitor or a 10-ton capacitor. Where is it? Here. Let's see the other side. We don't have it here. Let's see the other side. Here, guys. Do you see? Guys, this side, it's not, here we have plus. This place is for what? Is for the electrolytic capacitor connected to the ground. I don't remove this electrolytic capacitor. This electrolytic capacitor is like this from the manufacturer. The motherboard is made like this. They don't fix. Even here, do you see? Even for this circuit here, we have plus. Electrolytic capacitor is not here, also here, also here. In this board, they don't use in some circuit electrolytic capacitor. Like this one. But in the processor, yes, because the processor, everything should be right 100%. The voltages should be basically filtered 100%, not 90%, not 95%, but 100%. But here, no worries. Sometimes we don't use this one, no worries. Good. But for me, I will put this one. But once we don't have here the electrode capacitor, means guys, this one is excluded. This one is good. Once we don't have this one here, means don't worry about this one. The short will be here or here or here. The IC also is good. Why the IC is good? What is the proof? The proof is this, my friends. I check the ceramic capacitors for the IC. Look, guys. I check the ceramic capacitors around the IC. I find it good ceramic capacitors. It's not shorted. It's not shorted in both sides. Okay? Let's do it again. Guys, this is the IC. The RAM IC. If we check, guys, do you see? Shorted in this side because this side is connected to the ground here. Do you see? But here, it's not shorted. it's not shorted here. Here connected to the IC, it's not shorted. This one also, it's not shorted in this side, but shorted in this side because it is connected to the ground. Because always ceramic capacitors are connected to the ground in one side and connected to the IC in the other side. Means it's not shorted. Means the IC is good, 100%. Okay, I can even do like this. Can even do like this, my friends. Okay. Just to don't make beginners confused, one probe here, the other here. Do you see? We get a reading for this ceramic capacitor. This one also. Reading, good. This one also. Good. This one. Good. The IC is not shorted. If the IC is the shorted one, the capacitors are not shorted. I will prove to you, my friends, here. Here we work with proof, with process. We work here using the process and using proof, not just randomly. The IC, all ceramic capacitors around the IC are connected to the IC in one side and to the ground in the other side, like this. Another ceramic capacitor here connected to the IC in one side and to the ground in the other side. Another ceramic capacitor here, my friend, as you can see. And the IC itself is connected to the ground. So if the IC is the shorted one, okay, if the IC is shorted, these capacitors will be shorted. But once these capacitors are not shorted, as we have seen here, okay, my friends, as we have seen, once these capacitors around the IC is not shorted, means the IC is good 100%. The electrode capacitor 100% is good because, simply because we don't have it. As you see, my friends, here, this is the circuit. The electrode capacitor is not installed from the source, not installed. Like other, as you can see, channels, not installed. Okay, so this one is excluded, the IC is excluded. Let's continue, my friends. We find that the IC is good. Okay, nice. So this is the circuit basically. Now let's locate these components. Now guys, okay, here we have the inductor. This is basically, here we have basically the input. Over here we have the input, guys. If you understand this schematic, one time learning or one circuit for all circuits. I can call it one circuit for all circuits. Means if you understand just this circuit, you can understand repair short in every motherboard. In every motherboard, regardless of if the motherboards, the short is partial, is a dead short, is any kind of shorts. Okay. So here we have the input, here we have the output. Here, guys, we have the output inductor, this one. We have the electrode capacitor, this one is not installed. Then here we have what? Finally, here we have what we need. The voltage for the RAM. Let's say RAM VDD. Okay, RAM VDD. This is the output. The voltage for the RAM will be generated. But unfortunately, for this motherboard, the voltage cannot be generated. Why? Because simply we have a short. So here we have the input, here we have the output. Here, guys, we have the output inductor, this one. We have the electrode capacitor, this one is not installed. Then here we have what? Finally, the voltage for the RAM. Let's say RAM VDD. Okay, RAM VDD. This is the output. The voltage for the RAM will be generated. But unfortunately, For this motherboard, the voltage cannot be generated. Why? Because simply we have a short. We have zero here. We have a short. So the RAM VDD will not be generated. Okay, let's check this RAM. Just to be clear, what is the kind of this RAM? Okay, the kind of this RAM is DDR3. Okay, DDR3 means the RAM VDD means 1.5 volt will not be generated. Very simple. Why? Because we have short. Okay, so the question here, my friends, how we can identify this short using just the multimeter? Just the multimeter, without the voltage injector, without the thermal camera, without the experience, without nothing. How can we, just I'm beginner, how can I find this voltage? Very easy. I mean, how can I find the short, not the voltage? The short circuit. Easy. The short circuits, guys, troubleshooting short circuit is very easy, my friends. Very easy. Okay? Very simple. You have just to understand the circuit. Just understand the circuit. This circuit is very easy, it's very basic. All circuits in the motherboard are like this one. The circuit basically is divided into two stages or three. We have the input here. Okay? We have the output over here. And also we have the IC. The IC here, this part over here. So the shorts, I will give you a hack or a tip or a trick that you can use to identify the circle where the short is without go randomly and pick this one, remove this one, no, remove this one, connect this one, remove this one, no, it's not, we don't work like this. This is a random work. Guys, for this kind, we have three parts here. The short could be here in the input, could be in the output or in the side. How we deal with this kind of short circuit? Please, now we are in the deep work. Please, attention, my friends. Okay. If you have a short, my friends, without thermal camera, without voltage injector, remove the inductor. Desolder this one, remove it, desolder it, remove it like this, put it here. Okay, this one now is removed. Let's assume that this one is removed. Okay, nice. Now, once you remove the inductor here, the short will be in this side. Once you remove this one, you will find the short just in this side here or in this side here. Because you remove the inductor, because here between this circle here and this circle here, the only component that connect them are the coil, this one. If you remove it, you desolder it, you remove it like this, here empty, you will find the short in this point here or in this point. If you find it here, okay, means you have problem with the capacitor, electrode capacitor here. But once we have electrode capacitor, means the short will be in the RAM chip itself. But once here we don't have RAM chip, means the circle will be good. If you find short in this point, after removing the inductor, if you find the short here, of course, if you remove the inductor, the short will not be here. It will be here, just here, means you have problem in this side. My friends, it could be also in this side, but in this side. But how can I know if, because this point connected to this circle and connected also to this circle via this MOSFET. So how can I know if the short is here in the IC and ceramic capacitors or in the ceramic capacitor and B plus the B plus coming from adapter. It could be also from the charge IC, because here, because this side we have charge IC, we have switches, we have all a big stuff over here. So in this case, we remove the MOSFET, this one, because between this stage and this stage, the only connection is the MOSFET, as you can see, the MOSFET. If you remove the MOSFET, you have this point here and you have this point here. Nice. So you will check here and here. If you find that the short is in this point, means you have short here. 100% the short could be this one, the MOSFET, the probable one, this one. Why? Because connected to ground, or these ceramic capacitors, these three, or the IC, means here. Could be this one or this ceramic capacitors. Short is here. Okay? Or the lower MOSFET, this one. The lower MOSFET is this one. Okay? The lower, where is it? Here. The lower MOSFET, this one. Easy. But if you find the shorts in this side, means here we don't have short, here we don't have short, we have short in B plus, in this circle, means this capacitors in the input. If you check the capacitors in the input and you find it not shorted, go back to B plus. Here we have another work, because when you find, we have this circuit, but when the short is in the B plus line or power rail, you should go home. What I mean by go home? Like this, my friends. Like this. Let's, for example, this is the ramp circuit. If you find that all stages here are not shorted, but the short is in the B plus, okay, you should go here, my friends, to the input. The problem is not still here, is in the input. Okay, it could be this one, it could be switches or the charge IC. Okay, 1 minute please. If you find that the shorted part is the input, here we have another work. Here we have another work, is to go back to the charge circuit. To go back to the charge circuit. And in the charge circuit, we find what exactly? We find the power jack. Okay? We find a diode connected to the ground. This is protection. This is are mostly shorted components in the charge circuit. We find switch. It could be one switch. It could be two switches. Let's see, we have two switches, Q2, Q1, and we find the current sense resistor. Okay, my friends, here, this is basically the charge circuit. So guys, in this circuit, basically, let's remove this one. Let me remove the inductor right now. Okay, I will remove the inductor. Okay, I will remove this inductor. Okay, and check this side and this side. I should find short in one side. Let's again check the shorts in both sides of inductor. After that, I will remove the inductor and see the shorts in which part. Look guys, we find that this inductor, look my friends, the black probe in the ground, the inductor, zero in the multimeter. Let's see, we have one, the inductor is shorted. Okay, let's do like this. Good. One, In this side also, same already. One, the inductor is shorted. Let's remove the inductor. I will remove the inductor and again check the both sides. Normally I have to find just one side. One side. Here we have both sides are shorted 0. This side also are shorted 0. Okay, but if I remove the inductor, I will find just one side is the shorted one. But first, let's identify which side is connected to the output and the side that is connected to the input. What do you think, my friends? Which side is connected to the output and which side connected to the input? Easy, very easy, without using the multimeter, without guessing, without nothing. Look, my friends, we have the electrolytic capacitor here. Do you see? Same path. The inductor here. Look, my friends, look. Look here, my friends. This point connected to this point. This point here connected to this point. We have plus, we have plus. We have this point of the inductor, we have this point. Let's check. One probe here, we have the multimeter. Attention, please. One probe here, one probe here. Connection means this is the output here, the output. Even if the electrolytic capacitor is not connected, this side is the output and this side is the input. Why? Because this side is connected with the MOSFET. Here, this side connected with two MOSFETs. Here, do you see? This point here connected to this MOSFET, to this MOSFET. The same here. Look, my friends. This point here connected to this MOSFET, connected also to this MOSFET here. Do you see? This MOSFET and this MOSFET. This point is this point. This point here is this point. Connected to electrolytic capacitor, connected to two MOSFETs. So if I remove the inductor, the short will be in this side or in this side. Let's do it. Okay, I will right now, guys, remove the inductor and see what happens. So please, finally the job is done. Okay, let's continue, my friends. We are back. So I removed the inductor just using the soldering iron and normal soldering iron, as you can see, my friends. Normal one. I removed the inductor, as you can see here. Okay, do you see? I removed the inductor. This is the inductor that I removed. Here we have 2 points right now. No damage, all is good. We have MOSFETs, everything is good here, my friends. The inductor is removed. Nicely done. Now let's recheck, my friends. We have to find here what the short should be in this side or in this side, just one side. Let's test right now, my friends. Okay. Now what I'm doing, this inductor, okay, let's see, like, okay, this inductor is this one. Sorry, this is the same inductor. Remove it here in the schematic, remove it here in the motherboard. Let's check it out. Okay, the multimeter in the continuity option, and let's find the short. Is it in the output or in the input? I teach you, my friend, the process, not just remove the MOSFET. Now you will understand. You will understand. The schematic, you understand now the schematic and the process of finding short circuit. Okay. Okay, the multimeter here. Let's check, guys. So, one probe here in the ground. Okay? Are you ready? I will check this side first. This side. Okay, after that, this side. This side is this one. No shorts. The short is gone. Nice. The short is gone means the MOSFETs are good. Let's check. No short in the MOSFET. Also, this MOSFET, no shorts. This is awesome. Means this side is good. Means the MOSFET, means the IC also is good. Awesome. Means the ceramic capacitors also are good. No short in this side. What about this side? We have a short. Finally, one component. Guys, I remove one component from the board and I locate the short part without damaging the MOSFETs. That's why, guys, I told you why I made a teaching videos. I don't like to work randomly. I know many technicians, if they find this kind of short, they will remove this MOSFET. They will remove also this MOSFET. They will remove the IC. But the MOSFET is good. This is it. The MOSFET here is good. No short here. No short here. No short here. The short is in this side. Means one of the ceramic capacitors are shorted. Why? Because we don't have electrolytic capacitor. One of these guy are the shorted component. Very simple. Just stay tuned, my friends. The only video you need to repair any short circuit in any motherboard. I know what I'm saying. The only video you need. You will get the process. This knowledge here and this information, you will not find this information anywhere. This information costs thousands of dollars. I give you this information for free, my friends. The only process you need to master short circuit repair. Okay, my friends, this is the process that I teach you every day in electronics basics, and this is just 5% of knowledge that you will gain here in this channel. We remove the inductor for beginners. We find the short in this side. Means this stage, okay. Very nice. This stage, all this stage is good. IC, MOSFETs, okay? MOSFETs, IC in the back. And guys, without removing the inductor, I told you that the IC is good. I told you guys, without removing the inductors, I told you the IC is good because I find out, okay, my friends, I told you that the IC is good one without even removing the inductor because I find out that the capacitors are shorted just in one side by following the process. And after removing the inductor here, after removing this coil, my friends, after removing this coil here, we find that the short is just in this side. The short is just in this side. And this side, no. The MOSFETs are good. Everything here are good. So the short is here in one of these. Do you see? Shorted in both sides. One of these capacitors are shorted. Of course, sometimes you can remove these capacitors if the short is still here. Means we have to follow this part here. Do you see this part? The test point? This is the test point, my friend. Do you see? Also, the test point is shorted. So if we remove these capacitors, one of these will be shorted. But if we remove it and all of them are not shorted, we should follow this part here, follow this part. Do you see this point? This point means what, my friend? Means the voltage, the output that we will get here is distributed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places in the motherboard. Of course, we're gonna find short here. So capacitors also could be not shorted, but let's remove capacitors and find out which one is shorted. Okay, my friends, let's do it. Please like the video. I need more likes. Share the video, even if this is a live video, but here I don't teach you how to repair one laptop. I teach you how to repair thousands, millions of laptops by understanding the process. Nice. Okay, let's find out right now which one of these capacitors are shorted. Because here basically, here my friends, once we isolate the short circuit, you can use here the thermal camera if you have the thermal camera. And look for the ceramic capacitor that heats up. Okay, here the thermal camera can help you, no problem, you can use it here. But if you have just the soldering iron like me, the multimeter and the process, you can fix it without thermal camera, without voltage injector. I told you, I watch many videos, guys that use thermal camera and voltage injector, they don't find a short because they don't have the process. That's why I'm here to teach you the process, not just for my followers, for all of you guys. For guys that use the thermal camera and do the voltage injector and they don't find the source. I watch videos, they use thermal camera, they use voltage injector, they use the oscilloscope, they don't find the short. But the short is very easy without thermal camera, just multimeter and using the process. I teach you the process, my friends. Of course, this process takes time, but this process is applicable for all shorts in all motherboards. Okay, my friends? So how can we find out the shorts without using the thermal camera, without using the voltage injector, without using nothing, just the multimeter and the knowledge and the process? The ceramic capacitors connected basically to this electrolytic capacitor is not connected. From the manufacturer is not connected. If we follow this path here, we have these dots. Do you see these dots, my friends? This dots means this part here connected to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 part in the motherboard. Means it could be these capacitors are the shorted, or could be the shorts go here. So we should look in the motherboard. But I will give you, my friends, the fruit. This is the fruit, yes. Look, my friends, attention please. Do you see these capacitors? The short could be here, or could be, because the short is connected, is connected to all this part here, and this part connected to 5 part or circuit in the motherboard. We have this guy here. Do you see this one? If we remove this one, okay, if we remove it, we will separate this side where we have ceramic capacitor to this side, to the motherboard, because here, my friend, this point means the motherboard goes. The voltage here connected to all the motherboard. If we remove this one, we will separate these 2 stages. Okay, means if we find short here, the short will be in these 4 ceramic capacitors. If we remove this one and we find the short gone, not here, means in this side. Let me first draw for you the schematic in order to understand very clearly, my friends. Please don't forget to like and share. You can understand everything, just stay tuned step by step. I will draw the schematic in order to catch what I'm saying. Because I know, my friend, I know the process is not simple. But by drawing the schematic, my friends, you're gonna understand. You will thank me, don't worry. Attention please, my friends. You will understand everything. The only video, the only live stream you need to repair any short circuit in the world, in any motherboard, regardless of the device, regardless if it is difficult or not, the only live is this. I'm sure that you're gonna understand everything. Not 90%, not 99, but 100 or 120%. Just stay tuned. Okay, Let's draw the circuit. Guys, the circuit here, the short circuit, is this the same as this one? What we have here? We have the IC in the back, okay? We have this IC, my friend, surrounded by ceramic capacitors, okay? Let's draw first the IC. Let's put this guy here. Okay. Okay. We have the IC like this. This is IC. We call RAM IC because, my friends, this circuit is for the RAM, but the same working principle for all circuits in the motherboard. Okay. We have the RAM IC connected to two MOSFETs. Okay, we have it here. We have the signal MOSFET here. Okay, here we have drain. Here we have source. Here we have drain. The drain of this one is connected to source of this one. The source of this one is connected to the ground. Okay. And here we have what? Basically, we have the input. In the input, basically, guys, we have capacitor. We have basically just one capacitor, this one. Okay, in the input. Basically here, if we normally the voltage here is, we have here B+. No worries. The two MOSFETs, guys, here connected to this inductor, basically this inductor here connected to the inductor. Okay, nice. The inductor here connected to 4 ceramic capacitors. We have the first one, we have the second, third, fourth. 4 ceramic capacitors that are connected to the ground. C1, C2, C3, and C4. Good. Just stay tuned, my friends. The only video you need to repair any short circuit in any motherboard. I know what I'm saying. The only video you need. You will get the process. This knowledge here and this information, you will not find this information anywhere. This information costs thousands of dollars. I give you this information for free, my friends. The only process you need to master short circuit repair. This is the shorted component. I'm going to show you the shorted component, not just using thermal camera, without voltage injector, without thermal camera, without nothing, just the multimeter and the process. I'm going to spot the shorted component with the process and the logic. So here we have the IC, my friends. Okay, we have the IC, the IC in the back. We have two MOSFETs, these two MOSFETs. We have this inductor. We have the 4 ceramic capacitors. 4 ceramic capacitors, nice. Here, basically, we have an electrode capacitor removed. Normally, here we have electrode capacitor removed. We will ignore it. And here we have pads. In this side, we have a pad. This is, we called it, my friend, pad, or let's call it this point, no problem. And from this pad here, connected, this is the problem for short circuit. This is the problem that many beginners and even experts and professionals suffer from. Do you see, my friend, this pad here connected to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 point. 5 point means every point here connected somewhere to a circuit. This one connected here. This one connected somewhere here. This one connected somewhere here. This one means if we have a short in this side, we have to remove this pad. This pad, we have to remove it in order to separate the motherboard. Here, guys, I will call it MP. This is basically here, this point here, this side is the motherboard, MB. Okay, here we have the motherboard, guys. Here, this is the motherboard. So to make things easier, I should separate these two parts. But first, once I remove the inductor here, normally the short in the first time the short was in both sides, but when I remove this one, means before the short is everywhere in the circuit, everywhere we have the short, but once I remove this one, I get the short just in this point. I get the short just in this point. This part connected to 5 points, means 5 small circuits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The proof, here is the proof. Just step by step. Here is the proof, my friend. Do you see? The serum capacitors connected to this part here, and this part here connected to this point. Do you see this point? This point means motherboard. Here we have motherboard. Problem. The short is in this side. It could be not here, but it could be in one circuit in the motherboard. So what we should do, we should remove this one. We should remove this part here in order to isolate the motherboard from these ceramic capacitors. This is the input, my friends. Here we have the input basically. Okay. Here we have the output. Okay. Once we remove this inductor, we find out that the input is good, serviceable, good. The short is in this side. Okay. But the problem for us in this side is that we have 4 ceramic capacitors that could be shorted, but we have a pad or a bridge that is connected to the motherboard, 5 points in the motherboard. This is the problem. So that's why we should remove this pad in order to isolate the short. Let's do it right now, my friends. I will remove this one, guys. Okay, I will remove this one and check this capacitor. Remember, the capacitor here are shorted. For the last time, my friends, for the last time, sorry, because for me, the repetition is the most important gift we have. Here, no short. When we remove this one, the short is gone. But here we have the short, still short. All these are shorted. Let's remove this one and find out if the short will disappear here or not. Let's do it. For me now, I remove just the inductor, the coil, and I separate. I remove just the coil and I find the short in this side. So all those are good. I don't touch any one of this. Okay? Just the coil. Now I will not touch anything here. I will just remove the pad. So this process will help you remain this compound good. You will not touch anything. Okay, let's find out. Now the pad is removed. Okay, this one is removed here. Means if I find the short still in this point, means one of these are the shorted. But if the short is gone, means the short in the motherboard. We will do another job in the motherboard. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see, my friends. Okay, the multimeter. I have the multimeter here. Please like the video, my friend. We have the multimeter. To continue with the option, let's find out. The black probe here in the ground. Let's check. Are you ready? The pad is removed. I hope is removed. Yes. Let's see, my friend. Here we find we have no short. Good, because we removed the inductor here. Oh, the short is still here. No. Let's see. Oh, we have 10. What is this? Nice. Let's see, my friend. Nice, we have 9. Here, 9 in this side. 0 because here connected to the ground. Guys, here is connected to the ground. Do you see? We have electrolytic capacitor. Okay. Do you see, my friends? After removing the pad, I get here 9. Do you see? I get 9, my friends. The 9 basically is another reading. I will explain to you guys. After removing the pad, we get here 9. Do you see? We get 9 in the multimeter. Means what? Means, my friend, that these ceramic capacitors are not shorted because 9 is not a short. 9, my friend, basically is not a short in the motherboard. If we check, for example, the processor, my friend, here, look, if I check the inductors next to the processor, we have 3. 3 is not a short. This one, we have 3, 2 is not a short. Means these ceramic capacitors are not shorted, my friend. I should not remove it. These capacitors are not shorted. Where is the schematic? Guys, I find here using the multimeter 0. But after removing the pad, I find 0.9. Like this, reading. Means the ceramic capacitors are good. Means the short is in this side. Let's find out if this is right or not. How? I show you how. Let's move on, my friends. Where? Let's move on to the pads. Okay. If I check this side, I have 9. Good. But if I check this side, 0. Oh, I like the process. This side, 9. But this side, 0. Amazing. Amazing, my friend. Means the short is not in the side. Tell me, please, tell me the truth. Tell me, please, my friend, the truth. If you encounter like this kind of short, tell me the truth, please, in the comment. If you encounter like this kind of short and you have this one is connected, okay, this one is connected here, and you have the short everywhere, tell me, will you remove these MOSFETs, these ceramic capacitors, or not? Tell me the truth. After, before now in this process, will you remove those and also remove those and also the IC or not? Tell me the truth before now in this process. Finding the short using just the multimeter and the process and isolate the short by removing the fewest component. Until now, I just remove in the circuit, I remove 2 components. I have a lot of component here. I remove just the inductor and the pad. The pad is not a component. Okay? 2 components, and I find that the problem is not here. The problem either is not here, the problem in the side. Of course, you can remove first the pad, but why I remove the inductor? Because the majority of shorts are in the circuits. Here we have outside the circuit. Here we have outside the circuit. Okay, my friend? From the pad to this side, this is outside the circuit. We have short inside the circuit. We find the short here inside the circuit, so we began always short here. But in this case, no. The short one is in the outside. We will use the same process for many motherboards. I have here maybe I have here a lot of motherboards. Of course, I have shorted motherboard here, a lot of shorted motherboards. We will use the same process, and you will find and you will understand and you will learn the power of this process. You will learn the power of this process in the other motherboard. This one will find the short outside. Means we need more time. Not more time, but we need the the part B in the process. This is basically the process. This is the part A here in the process. Okay. Now in the side we will go with part B of the process. Another amazing process, second process. In order, don't worry, my friend, don't worry. Even if this part is huge, we have the motherboard here. Don't worry, we have the process, the shortcut. Always we use the shortcut. Okay. Now we will deal with this side. Okay, we will deal with this side. How to deal with this side? We should be smart in order to do not waste time. Guys, I know that many of you will wonder why you don't use the thermal camera or the voltage injector and just find the short without wasting time like this. I'm agree with you, my friend. I'm agree with you. This is how the majority think. But I told you that if someone told you the thermal camera, let's assume, for example, this is the thermal camera. I use the thermal camera. I find out that, for example, this thermal capacitor is overheated. I will replace it. Oh, nice. It is the shorted component. Good. Let's assemble the laptop, send it, I don't know, to the customer, or just assemble it. Did you understand something? Did you understand something, my friend, by finding the ceramic capacitor in the first minute or even in the 20-minute failed one? No, you didn't understand something. Even if you get the same board shorted, you will not find this one shorted. You will find this one is shorted. Another motherboard, the same board, you will find another component shorted. Means you didn't understand the process. Because the motherboard, we have here hundreds of components. Hundreds of components. One motherboard, 5 motherboards, same motherboards, shorted, you will find the components are different. So, just you eat the fish. You didn't understand. Now, let's move on without wasting time. Let's move on directly. Let's use the multimeter. And now, I have to find those points here, because as I told you, we find here we have 0, we have 9, and this side we have 0. Means the short is in this side. So I have to find here. These points are connected to which part in the motherboard. Okay? So I have to find these slots are connected to which circuits or parts in the motherboard. If we check this one, 0, as you can see. Guys, here, so we have to locate to go in the back. We have to go back because we have short in this side. We have to go back. If I go back here, remember these 2 points. Remember these 2 holes here. Okay, I will put this one here. This one here, like this. If I go back like this, okay, we are here. We are here, my friends. Okay, ground here. Okay, here we have the IC here. Okay, we have the IC. The 5 points basically are here. The 5 point, look my friends, look here. Do you see this point? We have 1, 2, 3. Let me check. Yes. Here we have 5 point, my friends. One of this point, my friends, one of these points, okay, let's trace this, is located, as you can see. Do you see? If we trace this one like this, okay, like this, okay, we have another 2 point here, and we have this point here. I will put this one here in this and check the other side. Okay, what we have in the other side, basically we have this component. Okay, my friend, we have this component. If I check this component, okay, if I check this thermal capacitor, for example, shorted in this side, shorted in this side, nice, shorted here, shorted here. Okay, let's check those also. No, good, good one, this one, good, good in one side, shorted in one side, no, those good in one side, no, in one side, no, this one shorted in both sides, this one guys shorted in both sides. Okay, let's track this. Let's see this one also shorted in both sides, this one shorted in both sides, this one both sides, this one both sides, nice. All cell capacitors here are shorted. Do you see? Because my friend, as I told you here, basically the circuit is for the RAM. This side means the motherboard, but here we have, of course, the RAM circuit. This is the RAM circuit. So just I show you the difficulty of the short and how to fix it easily. Do you see, my friend? You find all cell capacitors in the RAM are shorted. Here, guys, here, my friends, pay attention now. The problem is done. The problem is 100% fixed, repaired. How? Look, my friends, all capacitors here are shorted. Okay, here, you see? And the RAM chip is not connected. The RAM chip is not connected. For beginner, of course, I will show you everything. For beginners, just for beginners, the RAM chip is not connected. If the RAM chip, for example, is connected here, I have to remove it. But the RAM chip is not connected. It's not connected, and we get all ceramic capacitors are shorted here. Means what? In one minute, I will show you the shorted problem. Means what? When you get this kind of problem is outside the circuit, okay, you find like this, the RAM chip is not here, so what should be shorted? Means the short is the RAM slot. The short is in the RAM slot. If we have a RAM chip, it could be shorted, but once the RAM chip is disconnected, means the short is in the RAM slot. If we check, guys, let's check this RAM slot. Let's check the RAM slots. If we check it, we have to find a short here, means pins that are shorted or damaged. Oh, yes, 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 in this side, of course. Okay, do you see, guys? This made a short. Here is the short problem. Okay. Here we have a damaged pins. We have a damaged pins over here, guys. Means the short could be here. Let's even check one probe in the ground and check using the multimeter. Let's check 0. All these pins are shorted. All pins are shorted. Okay. Damaged slot. So guys, damaged slot. We found damaged slot. Okay, let me try to clean a little bit here. Guys, we have a shorter slot. The slot is shorted for this board. We have a shorted slot. Okay, this board has a shorted slot. I will begin with you another board in order to confirm this process. Even we can check 3 boards or 5 boards, no problem, until you understand the process. So guys, for this short, we use the schematic, we use the process, we find all these components good. The most important, I teach you how to avoid removing component like this randomly. Always remove the inductor. If you have a part, remove it, my friends, and the short will be here. If outside like this, if you have the motherboard, if you have the RAM here, means the RAM chip or the RAM slots. If you have the CPU is the output, means the short is the CPU. If you have the chipset in the output, means the short is the chipset. Guys, I hope that you understand the process. Unfortunately, we don't find any component here. We find outside, but we find the slots. Also guys, the CPU socket for all the motherboards could be shorted. Do you know, guys? The CPU circuit sometimes some technicians they don't pay attention to the CPU socket. They don't pay attention to the CPU socket. Guys, sometimes you can find also the CPU socket is shorted. Not just component. It could be CPU socket. It could be the slot in this case. So we gonna see another motherboard, even 2 motherboards or 3 motherboards, and we're gonna use the same process until you understand the process 100%. Okay, my friends? Yes, slot can be changed. Yes, can be changed, of course. Yes, everything can be changed in the motherboard. And of course, we're gonna continue with another motherboard, shorted motherboard. We're gonna use the same process 2 times, 3 times, even 4 times until you master the short circuit process without thermal camera, without voltage injection. And of course, guys, when the slot is shorted, even if you use the thermal camera and the voltage injector, you cannot find the short. Yes, guys. Yes. You know that if you want to remove these capacitors one by one, you will waste time or you will damage the motherboard you will not fix the problem. You have problem with the slot. You will use the thermal camera, the voltage injector or current injector. You will not find nothing. But the process, sometimes the process is more power than voltage camera and voltage injector. I will teach you, my friend, how the voltage injection work. How? Please attention. Okay, attention please. Let's assume, for example, that we have here let's assume that we have here the VN, okay? Then here we have a diode over here for protection. After that, we have here, for example, Q1, two MOSFETs, another MOSFET here, Q2, okay, my friends? And of course, here we have ceramic capacitors connected to the ground, two ceramic capacitors connected to the ground. Please attention, I will show you how the voltage injection or the current injection, I prefer to say current injection work. And then, for example, we have here a resistor, and then we have here, let's see, we have here an IC, and we have other ceramic capacitors, etc. Let's see, we have another ceramic capacitor connected to the ground. We have here another one here connected to the ground. Okay, my friends, and let's see, we have here a capacitor like this. Okay, and we have here a resistor, and over here we have a capacitor connected to the ground. Nice. I will show you how the voltage injector work, my friends. Basically, my friends, the voltage injector, how it works. Basically, we have the currents, okay? The currents. The rule for the current is that the current always flow in the lowest, or the part that is not resistive. Maybe low resistance, the part that has a low resistance. Let's assume, for example, we have the current here, okay? It will pass in the side, etc. Let's assume, for example, if we have the shorted one is the diode, the current will go in this side here, but here we will get a big flow or a huge flow of current. A huge flow of current. Here, just a small current flow. Okay? Here, very huge. Means this one will be burned out, will be very hot. And then it will be, because we have the current go into low resistive path. But if this one is good, and for example, this one, for example, is the bad one, the same. Here, a little bit current, here, a little bit current, and here, a lot of current. Because this one connected to the ground, and this one will be very hot. This is how the voltage injector work. And of course, the thermal camera, you can see the hotted components.